Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again to the S&T Football Podcast. This is the final episode of our Draft Steals and Hidden Gems series. We have talked about many players that went under the radar in this past year's draft that were taken in the later rounds 2 through 7, non-quarterbacks. We've been talking about many players that I believe are going to be stars at the NFL level, at least starters, and they're going to make an impact at the next level. And we've talked about probably 25 or so players so far, and this will be the final episode. We're going to talk about several more players here in this episode, and I do believe that these players are going to make a huge splash in the NFL. So watch out for these names coming up here. And the first name I want to start off with is actually the only first round guy that I have in this entire series. It's only been rounds 2 through 7. Technically, this guy was round 1. Now, he was the last pick of the first round, so I do believe it kind of counts. You know, it was basically second round, if you want to say. But the 32nd pick of the first round went to the Seattle Seahawks, and they selected Jadarian Price, running back out of Notre Dame. Jadarian Price was the backup for the starter, which many more people are probably more familiar with, Jeremiah Love. Now, Jeremiah Love went in the early first round, went with like the third pick to the Arizona Cardinals. They went ahead and snatched him up early. So obviously, Jeremiah Love was one of the top overall prospects in this draft, and he was the starting running back at Notre Dame and was so for the past couple years. Jadarian Price was their backup. Now, to see a backup running back go in the first round tells you about how good this guy is, because even though he wasn't even the starter, he gets drafted in the first round. Now, that's crazy, especially coming off the same team, Notre Dame producing 2 first-round running backs in the same draft, the starter and the backup. So that tells you about that running back room that the Fighting Irish had. The Fighting Irish probably had the best running back room in the entire country, and that was proved with this year's draft. Now, Jadarian Price, I mean, he could have started at any other school, to be honest, so the fact that he stayed at Notre Dame as a backup for the last couple years, even with the transfer portal age and things like that, he could have easily went over to a different school and been a starter there, but he decided to stay at Notre Dame. He liked it there. I guess he didn't mind the situation. They were definitely a 1-2 punch. He definitely got his playing time as well, and Notre Dame made a national championship last year, and this past year they had some success as well. So I guess he didn't really see any need to move on. He was fine with the situation, and it ended up working out for him in the end. It kind of reminds you of the days before the transfer portal and NIL and all that, when teams like Alabama and Georgia used to just have NFL guys just stacked on their roster because all the best guys went to the best schools. So Alabama would have first string, second string, third string running backs, and all of them eventually make the NFL. You know what I mean? So you don't really see that anymore. So the fact that Notre Dame is kind of doing something like that is pretty cool. And he was rewarded. Like I said, he goes in the first round as well. So there was nothing was lost being a backup at the school he was at, because it worked out for him in the end. He goes higher than most running backs do overall anyway. So Notre Dame producing 2 first-round running backs, that's just really cool for me. Jadarian Price is a great combination of size and speed. 5'11", 203. He runs downhill, and he has great vision. This guy he's a very dynamic running back. Now, Jeremiah Love was as well, and he's probably even more so. But, when they took Jeremiah Love out and he needed a breather and things like that, Jadarian Price came in and he made plays. This guy made plays. He was a baller, tough to bring down, very agile, all those things. He has great speed. He has good contact balance. He's very strong when he's getting tackled. So shout out to Jadarian Price going to the Seattle Seahawks, who are basically replacing Kenneth Walker. They let Kenneth Walker walk. They let him leave and go to the Kansas City Chiefs over the offseason after being their Super Bowl MVP. So that was talked about in another episode of ours. But yes, that was basically their number one, priority after that happened. So the Seahawks are pretty good. Like, they just won a Super Bowl. So Jadarian Price is going to probably the best possible situation he could. And he is going to have a great shot at being the guy now that Kenneth Walker has moved on. So wouldn't be surprised if Jadarian Price is the starter by the end of the year. So I'm sure the Seahawks will enjoy him. He's going to love it there. The Seahawks are known for their running game, and that is what they lean on all the time. So he is definitely going to be used a lot. He's going to have his number called often. So Jadarian Price goes in the first round, the 32nd pick of the first round, to the Seattle Seahawks. All right, the next draft steal we have to talk about in this episode is Mr. coming out of Vanderbilt, 6'4", 239. This is a big, tall, lean guy, and he was a playmaker down there in Nashville for the Commodores for the past couple years. He was a big part of Vanderbilt's turnaround their turnaround as a college football program, going from being one of the worst college football programs in college football and definitely in the SEC. Traditionally, in the past few years, they were able to turn that around and have been one of the best stories in college football. Eli Stowers benefited from the play of Diego Pavia, who we have talked about extensively throughout our episodes. And Diego Pavia was signed to an NFL roster himself, but Eli Stowers was a highly ranked prospect in this year's draft. So he gets drafted in the second round. Pick number 22 in the second round, he goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. So not a surprise for the Eagles to take a great tight end because, as we know, the Eagles are known for their tight ends. They already have a pretty good situation already with Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert has been there holding it down for them for the past few years. He is one of the best tight ends in the NFL, an excellent blocker and receiver. They also have Grant Calcaterra, who is a very good tight end as well, who's been the second string, third string guy for them the past couple seasons. He's a young guy, and he's also a very solid tight end. So all the Eagles do is just continue to build up their tight end room because they invest in it very well, and it always seems to pay off for them, going back to guys like Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck. So Eli Stowers looks to be the next great Philadelphia Eagles tight end. Like I said, he's a huge guy, and he actually set the combine records for both the broad jump and the vertical jump. So that tells you this guy can get up. He's got absolute bunnies. He's got springs under those feet. 11 feet 3 inches on the broad jump and 45.5 on the vertical. I mean, wow. I mean, this guy probably should have been on the basketball team with hops like that. So I'm surprised he didn't play basketball as well at Vanderbilt. I'm sure he did in high school and whatnot. Very, very good tight end. Like I said, very good at getting open. He's extremely physical. He's a great blocker as well, and he can get down the field. He's a big play threat. So watch out for him going down the middle up there in Philadelphia like he did down there at Vanderbilt. So very solid tight end prospect, and he goes early in the second round, like I said. The Eagles are going to enjoy him very much. He's going to learn a lot from Dallas Goedert, I assume, and he should be a star in this league in the next coming years. So watch out for Mr. Eli Stowers, the tight end out of Vanderbilt. Stowers or Stowers, I'm saying Stowers, but he goes in the second round to the Eagles. All right, moving on to our third player in this episode, we have Anthony Hill Jr., 6'2", 238, the linebacker out of Texas. He goes in the second round as well. Pick number 28, he goes to the Tennessee Titans. So the third overall ranked linebacker in this draft. So for him to fall to them in the second round, that's pretty good pickings for the Titans. The Titans need everything. One of the worst teams in the NFL. So every position is pretty much at need. They got their quarterback last year's draft, Cam Ward, who's going to be their guy going into the future. But they definitely do need some help on the defense as well. Definitely a struggling side of the ball for them. So they get Anthony Hill Jr., who was a dynamic linebacker for the Texas Longhorns these past few years. He ran a 4.51 40-yard dash, very fast, faster than some receivers have run in the 40-yard dash. So that shows you the kind of speed this guy is going to be bringing to the linebacker position. Very productive tackler, 250 total tackles in his 3 seasons. Tracks the ball well in coverage as well, and he works downhill. He's a great pass rusher, and he is going to blow up backfields in the AFC South. So like I said, the Titans are in dire need of some defense, some pass rush. Pass rush has been one of the probably biggest voids that the Titans have carried for several years now. They have struggled in the pass rush department, and that shows up, especially in the AFC South, where we're now having some really good quarterbacks in the AFC South. Guys like C.J. Stroud and Trevor Lawrence, and now we got Daniel Jones coming into his own. So Titans are going to need somebody to come off the edge at times and get to the quarterback. So Anthony Hill is going to do that. Like I said, very fast. And their starters, the Titans starters right now, Cody Barton and Cedric Gray. The new head coach, Robert Saleh, is going to love this guy. Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded head coach, and he's definitely looking to get some pieces for him to put on his chessboard that he is going to be able to move around and upgrade this defense a little bit. So the Titans are looking to compete this next season. They have been in the AFC South cellar for what seems like forever now. They are the worst team in the worst division overall. So the Titans definitely need to pick it up. So Anthony Hill Jr. goes to them in the second round, pick number 28 out of Texas, the linebacker. He looks to add to that. All right, the next player is also going to the Tennessee Titans. So they get this one in the fifth round, pick number 25 goes to Nicholas Singleton, the running back out of Penn State. State. So Mr. Singleton also goes to the Titans later on in this draft. And I really like Nicholas Singleton. He was a very flashy running back at Penn State. North and South runner. He loves to get to the sideline and use his speed and get away from defenders. Big playability. Posted 32 rushes of 10 plus yards a couple years ago. So that shows you the kind of breakaway speed this guy has. A playmaker. And he's always a threat to go all the way. Low center of gravity, and he loves to fall forward when he gets tackled. He loves to get those extra tough yards. So the Penn State is similar to Notre Dame in their use of two running backs at the same time. They love that two running back 1-2 punch in the backfield, and we're going to get into that more. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but Nicholas Singleton was one of those running backs for Penn State, so he was part of a great backfield in his past couple years, and Penn State, just like Notre Dame, is known for their great running game. 6'0", 219. He's a big running back as well, so it shows you the kind of size this guy's going to be bringing to the NFL. He's going to be a tough guy to bring down, and he was the 4th ranked running back in this draft. So to get the 4th ranked running back all the way deep in the 5th round, almost the 6th round, very good pickings for the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans already have a pretty good couple running backs. They got Tony Pollard coming over from the Cowboys a year ago, who is their starter, and he's a very good running back. And they also have the young guy Tyjae Spears, who they took out of Tulane, who I remember watching at Tulane in college football, who is a very good running back as well. And he looks to be their kind of change of pace running back, catching those balls out of the backfield and things like that. So Nicholas Singleton is joining a pretty good running back room already, so he looks to benefit from the guys in front of him, be that third string guy, and I'm sure he's going to have some playing time in the future. So shout out to Nicholas Singleton. Going to the Tennessee Titans in the 5th round, pick number 25. All right, coming back to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 5th round, pick number 29. Goes to another guy out of Indiana. We've already talked about a few guys that got drafted out of Indiana. This national championship Indiana team, man, they produced a lot of NFL talent this past season. It's crazy as a college football fan to see so many players getting drafted out of a school that has notoriously just been known for being terrible. And all of a sudden, just their entire offense and defensive guys as well seem to be getting drafted. So Riley Nowakowski, the tight end for Indiana, goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 5th round. This guy was a wrecker. Like he was basically the tight end and fullback as well. Indiana used him as a fullback many times during the season, and he was that kind of guy that like he's just huge. He's 6'2", he's 250. He's literally built like a bowling ball. Like this guy is big, and they put him in like goal line situations and short third down, 3rd and 1, you know what I mean, and put him at the fullback position. A lot of times they gave it to him. Sometimes they like threw it to him out of the backfield. He can catch, he can block, he can run. This guy is just one of those flex type of guys that you can, just use as a bully. He's just a bully guy, you know what I mean? One of those traditional fullback guys, but obviously we know the fullback position has kind of died off in the NFL. So, but he is one of those guys that would have played fullback in the NFL years ago. Nowakowski started all 15 games for Indiana at tight end this past season, all the way to their national championship win. Like I said, he's used as that fullback, halfback tight end role, and he has great hands. He's able to make good catches, and then he's able to break tackles and get down the field and get extra yards. So he's a great blocker. He is going to have a huge push up front to help the O-line and help his running back behind him when he's playing fullback. So just a really flexible player that can do a lot of things. Riley Nowakowski did that for the Hoosiers this past season and helped them win a national championship, and now he's going to bring that to the Steelers. Now, the Steelers, the Steelers definitely stick to their identity. You know what I mean? This draft is a very Steelers draft. Like I said earlier in a different episode, they got Jeremy Bernard out of Alabama, the wide receiver. They just know how to find wide receivers. They got Drew Aller. They made sure to take a shot at another quarterback. And then besides Riley Nowakowski, they also got in the 7th round this guy named Eli Heidenreich out of Navy, running back out of Navy, basically a fullback running back out of Navy. So just some very Steelers-like picks, you know what I mean? They basically got 2 fullbacks, and nobody even has fullbacks anymore. So Riley Nowakowski, the tight end out of Indiana, goes in the 5th round to the Steelers, and that's probably the best situation for a guy that has his kind of abilities like that. All right, and the final player we are going to talk about in our draft steals and hidden gem series goes in the 6th round. Pick number 6 of the 6th round goes to Katron Allen, running back out of Penn State. So this is the teammate of Nicholas Singleton, who we talked about earlier, going to the Tennessee Titans in the 5th round. And he sees his twin, his brother in the Penn State backfield go in the next round to the Washington Commanders. Not too many draft picks later either. And Katron Allen was that 1-2 punch with Nicholas Singleton for Penn State these past couple years. And I really like him. I'm kind of surprised that Nicholas Singleton went before Katron Allen, because if there was one guy I remember a little bit more was Katron, because Katron is just a powerful, strong runner that's just going to come right at you. This guy loves to lower his head and run guys over. He is scary. I can't lie to you. 5'11", 216, but he runs like he's 6'5", because whenever I watch Penn State games, this guy popped off the screen for me because he just loved to run over linebackers and run over safeties and just keep chugging and get down the field. Breakaway speed as well. He is a threat to go all the way at any moment, just like Nicholas Singleton, and that kind of showed you why they had so much success for the Nittany Lions in these past couple seasons. So, like I said, he split time with Nicholas Singleton in the backfield. He's a very patient runner. It kind of reminds me of a Le'Veon Bell type. You know how patient Le'Veon Bell was running the ball? Katron Allen has that kind of patience. He's great at changing direction, very productive, and he's not super fast, but he does have that home run threat, and he's very good at picking up those chunk yards. So he's just a guy that's going to get chunk yards for you. He's going to be physical. He's going to be tough to tackle, and he's going to be a great addition to the Washington Commanders backfield. Now, the Commanders' backfield does need some help right here, so that's probably why they went ahead and took him after losing Brian Robinson Jr., who is now on the Falcons now, I believe. Brian Robinson Jr. was the guy for them the past few years, but he moves on. So now their starter is technically Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who was a very decent running back. He was like their backup for the past couple seasons. But they did get Rachaad White over from Tampa Bay, who is a very good running back. So he'll probably be their starter. If not, they also got Jeremy McNichols, and they also got Jerome Ford over from Cleveland. So they do have a few decent guys in their backfield, but probably no premier stars. They probably wanted to add a little bit more depth to their backfield. So they went ahead and drafted Katron Allen out of Penn State, and they look to probably use a mix of running backs this coming season. Probably won't be leaning on the one guy like they kind of did with Brian Robertson Jr. These past few seasons. So Katron Allen goes in the 6th round, pick number 6 of the 6th round, the running back out of Penn State, to the Washington Commanders. And that will wrap up our Draft Steals and Hidden Gem series. Thank you so much for tuning in to all the episodes, all the shorts that you may have seen regarding all these players we talked about. We also have episodes about the quarterbacks that were drafted as well, and we also have an episode about Brendan Sorsby and the gambling controversy up on our channel right now. So tune into everything. If you haven't seen our videos, go ahead and check them out. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Drop a comment down below, and thank you so much again. Please tune in next time, and we out.